Howdy. I want to talk about the concept of loyalty. I have basically three moral concepts that I live by in this order: loyalty, trustworthiness, and honesty. I got loyalty because, well, I got to just tell it like it is, because my dad was in the military and he was loyal to a fault. He was a master sergeant, when he retired, but he had the loyalty of the officers who actually came to him for advice, and he gave his loyalty. He was in the service for 26 years. Dad took a bullet in Korea in his early years, and he took a bullet in Vietnam. And he was always loyal. He kept secrets that were just unbelievable, that I didn't know he kept until the late 2000s, I guess, when I found out what his detachment actually did. So it's like, wow. And only because the internet, all that stuff was classified before then. So loyalty was something that he embedded in me. And I've always been very loyal. Loyalty does go both ways, however. I'm loyal to people who have proven their loyalty to me, but if they break that trust, then the loyalty thing kind of goes out the window, because if you can't have loyalty going both ways, then it's not true loyalty. And that's rare. It's very rare. I've had people who I have felt loyal to who have violated it in some way 3 times in my adult life. And I have to say that because as a kid, you're kids. But I've had that 3 times. I'm going to tell you 2 of those times right now. The first time it happened was back in 1989. I was a regional billing director for an organization that billed for physicians. So I had been there 2 years. I had traveled up north. I traveled south. I traveled, I always get this wrong, east. I didn't have to go west. I had a bunch of outside offices, and I had a main office in the Syracuse area. And I had done basically the best I could with a pretty large area. And I thought everything was good, although I saw there were some cracks coming with the organization. And what happened is that I lost my job because the organization knew that there were some things going. And I was the first of all the regional directors to lose my job. I lost my job, I'm trying to think, what month? You know what? I don't even remember what month it was, but it was summer. And the cool thing about it, if there can be a cool job about losing, a cool thing about losing a job, is that the next week I was going to Atlantic City with a friend of mine to spend a week on vacation. So it was already paid for. So I really didn't feel all that bad about it. But I felt that loyalty had been broken because I had been really loyal to the company. How loyal was I? 6 months earlier, one of the physicians groups we were billing for were going to go separate. And the head of the group came to me and asked me if I would leave the organization and go and work for them. And they would pay me more money. I would have my own office, and it would be kind of cool. And I thought about it, but my mindset at the time was, you know what? These folks took a chance on me, so I'm going to be loyal to them. 6 months later, I'm gone. And I had let the VP of the organization know that I had given that up to stay with them. And he could have said something, but he didn't. They knew there was something there. So I felt that was disloyal. That's the first time. The second time was when I was with a hospital system up north, and I had given them a loyalty letter because I had an opportunity to get a better paying job right here in the Syracuse area. But I said, you know what? I've worked for these people for a long time, so I'm going to let them know the offer I got. So I let them know the offer I got, and they matched the offer with money, and then they brought it up a little bit more because back then the gas prices were higher, which is funny to think because right now the gas prices are somewhat close to what they were back then, but they had been a lot lower. So I signed a 2-year loyalty agreement with them, and they signed it with me. And, you're thinking, okay, here we go. It was a tough time. We were going through computer changes. Remember Y2K? For those of you who are old enough to remember, that was a big deal. We were switching computer for like an entire department, and we were the last ones to be done. It was a whole lot of mess, but we all stayed loyal. We all worked hard. We were doing well. And then 3 months before the loyalty agreement was done, they came to me and said, well, we're going to move your entire department to another city. and we're going to be moving a couple other departments. And so that's that. And I asked, okay, and so what am I going to do? And they looked at each other. I said, wow, they didn't even consider me. How disloyal is that? I had signed this loyalty pack. Now, it's not binding because we didn't get it notarized or whatever, but I had signed this loyalty thing, and they were disloyal. And they didn't even think about me. And you know what? I had the best numbers in the organization. But they didn't care because they thought, well, he's working in this small county where we're in the big city, so anything he does doesn't matter. Pure idiocy. Just because you're big doesn't mean you're better. Always remember that. So that was the second disloyal thing. Now, like I said, there's 3, but I'm not going to mention what the third one is. What I am going to mention, however, is that even with those 2 breaches of loyalty, I still think loyalty is number 1. Why? Because I have friends going back as far as 1973 who are still loyal. I don't see them all the time. It's a rare thing because, we were military kids. I haven't seen one of the guys. I haven't seen him since, I think, 86 or 87 when he got married in Massachusetts. But I have folks who go back as far as high school and college. A lot of my friends go back 20 years, loyal. They saw how I was with them. I protected a lot of them. I almost took a bullet for one of my friends once, which was probably not the smartest thing in the world, but he was my guy. And I wasn't going to let anyone else mess with my guy. I wasn't Superman. That was not one of the smarter things I ever did, but I didn't care because in my mind, it was loyalty. He'd have done the same for me if, the tables had been turned. As a matter of fact, at one point when I was having some difficulties with some things, he actually recommended that I do something, and he could have got some other people, and I said, okay, you know what, now that's going to cross some lines. I don't think we want to do that. But that shows how strong loyalty can be. So overall, loyalty has really been a big thing in my life. I'm loyal to a fault. I'm loyal to some people who I've met online. I haven't met them in person. But you can ask a friend of mine, his name is Peter, who years ago, some guy decided he was going to call him out on his blog of all things for something he didn't promise, and I went after the guy. Why? Because I'm loyal. This has been a friend of mine. No, you don't get to mess with my people. And I called him out. And then he tried to back down, and I said, no, we're not having that. And even to this day, because I don't do forgiveness well, I'm still on the guy's case. I don't go out of my way, but I don't talk to him. He's tried to talk to me. I ignore him. I block him because it's just not going to happen. Loyalty is big. Overall, you have to have a moral base. I can't remember if I mentioned that in a video or if I wrote it in a blog post, but you need to have a moral base, something you're going to stick to that you're also going to make people who you're thinking about making your friends, make them stick to it. You got to have something. It might be honesty. Honesty is a tough one. The reason honesty is hard is because sometimes you can't tell the absolute truth to someone because it's going to hurt them. But sometimes you have to be ready to tell them some truths, even if it hurts them, in order to save them. Loyalty's tough. Trustworthiness is not as tough, or at least it shouldn't be, but you never know what factors are hitting those people. Loyalty is an absolute. Loyalty should be an absolute. It doesn't mean that you will break laws to help someone. So if you have someone who comes to you and says, oh my God, I shot 3 people because they got on my nerve. Can I hide in your house? Well, no, because you just broke the loyal oath. We've known each other a long time. Now, if they came after you, that's a different story. You're not hiding in the house, but we're going to call somebody, and I will stand by your side or sit by your side or whatever, and we will work our way through this. I will be loyal that way. I'm not going to turn my back on you just because you happen to do something wrong in the heat of a moment. But if you rob somebody or started doing all kind of drugs or whatever, you've broken the loyalty trust. And I'm just not going to have that. That's, where I will say that it's loyalty, both sides. It takes both sides. And in my adult life, only violated 3 times. I think that's pretty good. So let me know what you think about the concept of morality. What is your biggest moral? What is your biggest takeaway? Or you think I'm nuts, even trusting anybody? Y'all let me know. My name is Mitch Mitchell. If you like this kind of thing, please like this video. think about subscribing and think about that notification bell. We got a few more of these to go. Y'all take care.